Welcome. In this training video, we will look at how you can run an English lesson that will enable the integration of Speak2Go technology to complement your teaching, keeping your lesson and your students focused. Speak2Go supports your teaching, strengthening your work, but it is not the subject of the lesson. A class lesson that uses technology can get out of control as soon as the students enter the classroom and face their computers. This leaves the teacher fighting for their attention. This can all be managed through lesson planning and structure. Plus, if you have teaching control software for the classroom computers, it's a huge advantage. Ideally, a lesson will be divided into two parts, a frontal teaching part controlled by the teacher and a second part of individual online work with Speak2Go. Let's take a look at a few golden rules that will help you establish the right classroom guidelines for integrating technology. Golden rule number 1. In the frontal part of the lesson, keep your students away from their computer screens until the individual part of the lesson. Students can be distracted by their screens even before they start working. Start the class with the students facing you and not their screen. Nothing is switched on until you tell them to. The best way to control the students' computers is by using classroom management software. Golden rule 2. Use your available resources to introduce the Speak2Go lesson before your students start working. Where you can connect a computer to a class whiteboard, it can be advantageous to demonstrate the lesson first. Either way, review the vocabulary and connect it to a class topic before your students start practicing with Speak2Go. As a reminder, with Speak2Go we try to broaden out the vocabulary and breadth of language for your students, so demonstrating the lesson using an overhead projector gives the introduction to students that they need in order to immediately get started with the Speak2Go task. Golden rule number 3. Give time limits for each task. This will help focus your students on completing the Speak2Go lesson, and if timings are a little tight, it gives them a sense of urgency so that distractions like messaging, Instagram and YouTube are much less attractive. Golden rule number 4. Having a defined outcome from a computer-based task is important. Each Speak2Go lesson is divided into tasks, so you can specify the lesson goal at the beginning of the class. The Speak2Go software provides you and your students with an immediate measurement of performance, and this is highly motivating, helping students reach their goal. Golden rule number 5. Use the teacher's dashboard to monitor the class and let the students know you are watching their live progress. Use the dashboard to notice where a student is not progressing so you can go to them and help, or where a student is improving so that you can highlight their success. So to summarize, keep your students away from their computers and phones until you are ready. Introduce or demonstrate the lesson first. Give time limits for a task. Define the outcome for each class. And use the teacher's dashboard to support your class. Working with technology like Speak2Go can be hugely advantageous to both teachers and students. Computerized lessons support multiple learning levels in the classroom. Student progress is personal, and a student who doesn't work will be left behind. So a recommendation is to include a grade for Speak2Go as part of the English grade on the student's report card. This changes the dynamic between the teacher and the students because it transfers responsibility for learning to the student, with the teacher supporting learning. Additionally, including grades for computerized study conveys the message to students and parents that online study is not a pastime but a learning tool. Sharing your responsibility for learning makes your work more enjoyable. Here are some quick class rules that you can establish with your students and maybe have on a list on the board for each lesson. What is forbidden? No surfing websites that are not related to the topic or the game. There's no Facebook, WhatsApp messaging in these classes. Make sure the task definition is visible throughout the lesson by giving out a worksheet or writing it on the board. Make sure students show consideration to other students. No shouting. If someone's microphone doesn't work, make sure they know to check their volume settings before shouting. Students need to know how to help each other. If you have computer trustees, use them. And what to do when there are technical problems? There are simple solutions. Refresh your screen, log in again, practice using your phone if you're having a problem with your computer, or work in pairs. Thanks for watching.